Second planning and voting, all for late. So I'm gonna call the town council meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, December 19th. It is 6:05 p.m. And well, let's get started. Pledge of Allegiance and the opening thought of prayer. Thank you. Which one of you wants to do the pledge and which one wants to do the prayer?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Good pledge.
Okay, we'll start, we'll do the pledge of allegiance first.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Y'all are bow your heads with me, please. Our dear Father in heaven, we're grateful to gather together this evening as in a town council meeting, as we discuss the things that will improve this town and the requests from individuals in this town. Pray that thy spirit be with us, understanding of empathy for one another and of kindness at all times. We pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right, I will ask if anyone, I don't see anything on the agenda that anyone could have a conflict of interest with, but I'm going to ask anyway if anyone has a conflict of interest. So we'll start with Jean.
No.
Leroy,
Now,
me, no.
Paul,
All right, first item then is the consent agenda.
And Mayor,
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion to move sim one from the consent agenda to item F.
to what?
Item F.
Item F. Okay.
And the reason is that the minutes are incomplete, so we need to continue.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the consent, Jean did it. So the consent agenda will consist of approving the checks and invoices for November 2023 and approving, renominating Paul Louie to serve as our representative to the Hurricane Valley Fire District. So I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda from whoever would like to make that motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda items 2 and 3 of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Did you hear that, Crystal?
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Right. Open forum. So is anyone here in the room that has anything you'd like to talk about that is not on the agenda? I will take that as, okay.
John, I just wanted to thank, the mayor, everybody for letting me, be on planning and zoning. That was, quite an experience, as, the mayor stated before, that, we, learned a lot. Hopefully, we can, continue doing good things. So thank you for that experience, and, thanks for not, passing those definitions, so I could keep my word and not have to resign when those were passed. So it kept me on there, and I think I enjoyed it. Thanks.
I don't remember you saying you would resign if those passed. I would have passed right away. I passed right away.
Not very often you guys see me up here, huh?
No, I was about to say, what are you doing? But okay.
Uh-oh, is that a bad thing? No, sure. Can I do it now?
Yes.
Leroy and Jean. I wanna start off keeping this little short and sweet. I wanna thank you for your time and energy spent on the town council. I know it's not an easy position, and you've made an impact on this town, whether some people in this town like it or not. From my beginning here in Virgin, you have, we've been together. We've been through 2 mayors and lots of meetings, and it has now come to an end. It's not a goodbye, but a see you later, as we hope to see you around the town, still here at the town events, and still being involved in the town. With that, I'd like to thank you for all that you've done, and you will be missed. So we've got you, some little gifts as a thank you for all your hard work.
Okay, if there's no one else, to make a comment during, open forum. We will move on to council comments. Do you have anything you want to comment on, Paul? I'll get to you. I forgot.
Yes, I want to thank Sean. Thank you for your service for all the years at Planning and Zoning Commission. And Jean and Leroy, thank you for your service. 2 years ago, I stood up here and I thanked Jay for his service before in this December meeting as he was leaving. I always think that public service, whether it's on an appointed board or an elected office, is a gift to the community. So thank you very much.
Jean, do you have any
Yeah.
comments?
I just want to say thank you to Tim for giving me the opportunity. Public service is not as easy as people think, and I guess my biggest hope is that those who want to see the community change don't feel like they're being heard, run for office and see just how fun it is. Monty Lutz told me when I first ran, if at the end of 4 years, everyone's just mildly disappointed, you did a good job. So I feel like I did a decent job. I tried anyway. And I'm not gonna miss it. I'm really excited to get on with my business and I'll still be around, but glad to be able to have some free time now. 5 years, 5.5 years, it's a long time to serve, so thank you.
Leroy?
I just want to thank the town for putting up with me and I appreciate all the people that have wished me well. And it's been fun at times, at other times it's not. But it's interesting to watch the dynamics in each meeting. And how we, council people and public, can make fools of ourselves at times, which is all part of life. And I just wish the town well. I think I'll try to serve for a while. The mayor will let me in another position.
Leroy has been our town treasurer for the past 4 years?
6 years.
6 years. And so I asked him if he we would like to turn the town treasurer position into a paid position, and up to now, the town treasurer has always been a member of the town council who is treasurer for free. And so I want to turn the town treasurer position into a paid position, and I asked Leroy if he would stay on as the town treasurer, and he said he could probably give us a commitment to 6 months, maybe a year, but for 6 months. And even then you weren't committing really to the 6 months, so it may be 2 or 3 and you're like, I'm done, but we'll see how it goes. So, I had something before I say what I wanted to say on council comments, Jay Lee wanted to do a short report for the mosquito abatement district. He's been our representative for the mosquito abatement district, and he brought us all a report. So Jay, why don't you come up and give us a short report, and then I'll get on to what I wanted to talk about.
We did our budget and our, budget for next year, and it looked great. We're in good hands. We, had a few mosquitoes with those bad things, but hardly any, but up north, it was terrible. We haven't had the birds, like a lot of them have, and so we didn't have a lot of mosquitoes, but anyway, you can read through there, there's a lot of stuff here. The mayor said he wants me to make it short, so anyway, you can read through this, and we actually approved, purchase of one automobile. And, we actually had $100,000 left over, and that went into our capital improvements. And we're looking, they figured when they got this building that we're in now, 10 years ago, it'd be a 20-year building, but they're already getting quite big, but they've got close to $1 million in that fund now. And actually had to start, putting their interest in there because interest rates have gone up, and we made over $30,000 in interest this last year. And anyway, on the last page, there's the one that's really we shows the mosquito distribution chart, and we're down there in Virgin. The second one, the Sierra Bella, see that, what? Over 3,000 mosquitoes that they captured. And, you know, it makes it really tough when, I think, John, just because of the watering. The canal company had a watering up there, and they didn't fix it. And when you got a little water streaming down through there, you got little ponds here and there. So every time you have a pond, you have mosquitoes. And Sean was after them to get that repaired. I don't know if they've got it repaired yet. But then the water out the ditch for the winter. So anyway, I think that's about it. Everything's looking really well, so.
Okay. Thank you, Jay.
You got any questions?
Thank you, Jay. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about in council comments, I'll try to be short. Oh, wait, before I get to mine, Leroy, did you want to do a report?
Sure.
Yeah, do yours, then I'll save mine for last.
If you remember last month, we talked about because of the capital and improvements that we did during the first of our fiscal year, we were running in the red year to date as of the end of October, a little over 20,000. And you know, a lot of people wondered about that, because we budgeted that, but now at the end of November, we show a positive $36,968. And because of that, we had a surplus of $53,528. during the month of November. I just wanted to mention that so that people knew that we were diligent in our budget and knew what we were doing this side of it. We had expenses, of 42,581 during the month of November, and income of 104,546. We did have some more capital improvements during the month of November, that amounted to about $7,727, and those were all on the town hall renovation. Does anyone have any questions?
Sorry, this thing was set on 75. There's no one right now. Okay, so now on to what I wanted to talk about. So Crystal, if you would bring up the form that said, there's a press release. Scenic Byway press release. Bring that one up first. This actually is from February of more than 2 years ago. I did not know if anyone was aware that, that Highway 9 had been designated a National Scenic Byway. So I did not know if everyone knew that, but I just wanted to point that out because it applies to the next thing I'm going to show you. So Crystal, stop looking at the flies, and I would like for you to pull up the scenic overlay ordinance. There we go. And then we're gonna go to the next page. Page 2.
Even on the map.
That wasn't the map. So this is from the county. The county is enacting chapter 30 in their code, and it is a scenic byway overlay zone. And this is the zone shown right here on this map. I thought everyone would like to see this map. And if we go on down to the next page, you'll see that line 79D, they've got uses that are permitted in this zone. And if we go on down further, there's pages of charts that of what is permitted uses in this overlay zone in the county property. All the land that is in the county that is in that yellow area that's outside of the city limits of Laverton, Virgin, Rockville, and Springdale. So all of these uses would be allowed in this zone, but they do, when you go down further on pages, let's see. What is this page number? 11. You will see there that they have some diagrams of how they want any buildings in the overlay zone. They want them not to be on top of the mesas, they want them down lower. They can be on an intermediate mesa, but not on the very top where the skyline is. So I thought I'd show you that. And then they have a listing here of some interpretive sites. It's on page 13 where those will be. Page 14 shows some of the lighting fixtures that they will allow in this zone on the county properties. And then we keep going down, you will eventually get to page 19 and 20. They have some examples of what they like in the way of buildings that they would like to see in this zone. At the bottom of page 19, and you can see some of this are buildings that already exist. On page 20, you'll see there is Auto Camp. That is the first photo, and then below that is the Fairfield. I'm not sure what these other photos are, what properties they are, but this is kind of the style that they're looking for. So I can give anyone a copy of this or overlay zone who's interested in getting a copy. But what they did, and they just enacted this afternoon, I'm not even sure if their meeting is over yet, it started at 4 o'clock today. And they were going to pass this ordinance, and, I was at 2 meetings today in St. George and talked to the county. There was the mayor of Rockville, Springdale, me, 2 people from Laverne, and we were all there. We talked to the county commissioners about this overlay zone. And their plan is to enact the ordinance and then they're gonna fine tune it. And the reason that they came up with this zone is that, they were trying to put the kibosh on some crazy ideas that people have been coming in. Somebody wanted to do a Ferris wheel between here and Springdale. And they had to stop that. There was a couple of other crazy things, so they have passed this to kind of put some brakes on some of the projects people have been proposing on the county land. And, they're going to work on fine tuning this now. And so there's going to be taking a lot of public input. And so for anyone who's interested in what's going on with this, I have a copy of the zone and can send it to you. So just wanted everyone to know what they're doing, what the county is doing to try to protect the scenic byway. And when you go through the list, some of the ideas of what they have allowed uses, you're kind of like, oh no, but at least it's not a Ferris wheel. So I just thought I would share that. That's what I've been dealing with for the last week or so, is this overlay zone. Okay, so now on to, item, if there's no more council comments, then we'll move on to item F that you requested, Paul.
And I will make a motion to postpone item F until next month. There was a motion under, with respect to the personnel manual in the minutes, and it failed to list what the motion was. We're trying to remember exactly what it was, so we'll have to go back and listen to the minutes. Make sure we get it correctly. Otherwise, it would have just been a big blank when we passed the minutes.
This is the one where it has the XXX on it?
Yes, that's the one. So this is, on, for you guys looking at the minutes, it was item 3 under new business last month, where we were adopting the personnel manual, and Paul made a motion to adopt with some amendments, and then the rest of it is blank, and it's not saying what the amendments were. And so we need to go back and fix this before we approve the minutes. So that's why we're putting this off next month. So I'll second that motion. So all in favor? Aye. All right. Okay, so now we're on to the public hearing. So we're going to open the public hearing and we have 2 items for the public hearing. There will be, first, we will take any comments on the proposal to amend our budget. And then we will also take any comments on adoption of the capital improvements plan for the next 5 years. But we will start off with the budget first. So I need a motion to close the public hearing, meeting and open the public hearing.
We could, close the public meeting and open the public hearing.
Second.
I'll do roll call because I can't remember which one we're supposed to do. So to be an error on the side of caution, we'll do a roll call vote. So Paul,
Aye.
Jean, yes. Leroy,
Yes.
Jean. Okay, all right. So anyone in the public have a comment about our proposed amendments to the town budget? See, how long will I give for anyone to stand up, Sean? Okay, I assume there's no comments on the budget. So what about, we will now take comment, if any, on adoption of the capital improvements plan for the next 5 years. That also was put up on the public notice website for everyone to look at. So no comments on that? All right, so I'll take a motion to close the public hearing and go back to our public meeting. Since there's no public comments on either topic.
I move that we close the public hearing and open the public meeting.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so. New business, A1, consider the consideration of the resolution, amending the adopted budget of Virgin Town for the fiscal year 2024. Any, comments from town council, any discussion? I will say, I will bring up that what we are. Why we are amending the budget. We are going to be. Heath, can I go ahead and talk about number one, the purchase of real property?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to be buying the acre of land on Mesa Road, that there's a water tank on Mesa Road. And that water tank actually sits on land that is owned by Sitla. And we received a letter from Sitla earlier this year letting us know that, well, basically we were trespassing on their property because the lease that we had on that land had expired probably 13 years ago. And we did not know it. And so,
It had been subject to a special use lease that Sidla had done with the prior lessor of the testing facility up there. Now it's held by Rockwell Collins. But yeah, we didn't realize that the lease had expired, and so we had no valid lease to have our permanent improvement on it.
so we elected to buy that piece of property from Sitla so that we never have to worry about leases again. And so they're selling us this acre of land with all the back rent that we would have paid for a total of $45,000. And so we have to put that in the budget because we need to pay them next month. And we need that in the budget. Then we have $20,000 that we're going to put toward a groundwater protection study that we have voted to fund. And then just other issues here and there of little things that where we have spent money. And then I want to make the town treasurer position a paid position. So we had to put some money in the budget for that, for the pay. And then also we are going to hire another person in the public works department, and we had to put salary money in for that too. So that's what all we're amending the budget for. So, yes,
I was gonna make the motion.
go, I was about to say, I'll take a motion.
I move that we adopt the resolution amending an adopted budget of Virgin Town for fiscal year 2023 to 2024.
I'll second that.
This one will require a roll call vote, so, Jean Durante,
Yes.
Leroy,
Yes.
me, yes, and Paul.
Yes.
Okay, and Misty is, out today, she called in sick. So she is absent. Okay. All right, next is, consideration of the resolution adopting the 5-year capital improvements plan.
Mayor,
Yes,
2 years ago, it was right before you and I took office, I came up and I testified, and as I mentioned once, I congratulated people that were served. But I also took the position that there are some items that, even though it's proper and you could do it at this meeting, they should really go to the next meeting and let the new elected officer deal with it. This one has both options because Leroy has been very instrumental in developing its CIP, and it'd be great for him to vote on it. But then again, the individuals that will be operating for the next 2 years, elected officials will be in the next group. So Marcy, who April's been on the committee, so she's familiar with it. But Marcy, who's got to operate with improvement plan for 2 years, was not. So I'm gonna make a motion. I don't know if I'll get a second or enough votes, but to keep with my public testimony of 2 years ago and my philosophy, I think is probably good public policy in some cases that defer to the next council. And in this case, I will make a motion that table this till next meeting. That's for one.
No, I'm thinking, I didn't say I was a second, I wasn't expecting this, so I'm thinking. Jean, Leroy, you guys have any thoughts on Paul's motion?
This has been developed by a committee of you and I on the council and then people from the community. I think it's a good proposal as a start, but the nice thing about it is it could be amended by the committee at any time or the council. So I don't see any problem with it voting on it.
I specifically removed myself from that. I felt like I was busy enough, and so I would vote to approve it anyway, but it makes no difference to me if.
And Leroy's right, we can amend it, so.
Okay. Because what we just voted on with the budget, whenever I have done, budget amendments, I like to do them in the quarter, and this is the end of the second quarter of the fiscal year, and we did not do an amended budget in the first quarter. There wasn't really anything to amend, and now we've had quite a bit that we need to amend in this quarter. So I felt that budget, that needed to be voted on tonight. The capital improvements plan, I feel that, given the amount that Leroy and I have worked on this, and you've attended almost every meeting, I feel that we could go ahead and vote on this one tonight. So there will be no second on this one. Okay. So I will take a motion to adopt is there any discussion on this capital improvements plan? No?
The only discussion I would have is I've already mentioned to the mayor that I'm gonna propose some changes to our capital improvements policy, which will be submitted to the capital improvements committee and then submitted to the council for changes. And this is a very good start. The committee took their time in opposing this CIP 5-year plan, which was, I think, smart by the committee's view to kind of get a feel for what they needed to do. And it showed some deficiencies in our plan that we need to change. But also in the future, I hope the plan will have a little more estimate costs to the project, so it becomes more of a budgeting document. But for the first plan for Virgin, I think it's a pretty good one. And I thank the committee for all their hard work on it. And this will be coming to the town every year as long as that policy remains in effect.
Okay. So, I make a motion that we adopt the 5-year capital improvement plan for fiscal years 2025 to 2029 for the town of Virgin. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Paul, Jean, yes, Leroy,
Aye.
and Jean.
No, Mr. Usher, and me.
No,
Aye.
I was looking at the years on here and I was trying to go wonder if we actually have the right numbers on here, but we do.
But the nice thing about this plan, it can be amended at any time by the committee.
Yes.
Because circumstances might require something else in this on the flag. So I think this is a good start. It puts a plan in place for them to amend or to change as needed.
Okay, I would like to go ahead and do item 4 before we do item 3. Item 4 will be I imagine it will be very short. And on item 4, it said whether to join the Dixie Transportation. Does anyone have any objection to item 4 before item 3?
I have a question. Is this something that would be better decided by the new council?
No, and I'm gonna explain why.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's-
But does anyone have any objection to moving item 4? Okay, to number 3. Okay, so if you guys remember 2 months ago, in October, Myron Lee, who was the head of the Dixie MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, came and asked, did a presentation to the town council to ask if, we wanted to join the Dixie MPO, remember? And what is going on with the Dixie MPO is they only do this every 10 years to see if if they want to expand their boundaries. And so this year, they were this time, they wanted to know whether or not Virgin should be included, and then there's a part of Tokerville to the north that they want to incorporate into the Dixie MPO, they want to extend their boundaries. And Crystal, you can go ahead and pull up that COG packet, the extract of the COG packet. So every 10 years, they look to see whether or not they want to expand their boundaries, and we have to give them a decision by the end of this month. And that's why we have to vote on it now. We can't wait. So I went to, if you remember when Myron Lee was here doing this presentation, he talked about how if we join Dixie MPO, we would have access to funds, grant money for various road projects. So today, I went to the Dixie MPO, had the executive council had a meeting that I attended. And then immediately after that executive council meeting, they had what is called a COG meeting, which is the Council of Government. And they were in the same room, they were just one right after the other today. And I want to show you what I pulled out 3 pages from this 75-page document that they had for us today. And I want to show you that this shows that they have a total bank balance of $5.5 million to use on projects. And they have obligated $2.8 million. They haven't spent the money yet, but they've obligated it on some projects where various towns that are part of the Dixie MPO have come and asked. They have said, could we get some money for this, money for this, money for this? And so they still have a balance of $2.7 million at this time. Today, we had an ask from Hurricane for $114,000 so that they could get a right of way for something they're doing on 300 West there in Hurricane. And I just wanted to show you guys this next page. Actually, I don't know if you can rotate that, but if you can rotate that, that would be nice.
Yeah, not in, you would have told me earlier.
Okay.
Sorry.
I just wanted to show you what it has. Okay, well, I can rotate it on my screen. This is a list of all of the various projects that Dixie MPO has allocated money to that has not happened yet. And it just shows everything that they've done, the different funds that they have, how much money is in each fund, and how we can ask for money. And then the next page also, I don't know if you can rotate that one either. Is it not like a PDF? Okay. Oh, this is useless. I didn't know that they could be rotated, but I just thought I would show you here. There's some of the revenues that they have, how they get money into these various accounts. Now today, when Hurricane applied for this $114,000 for this money, you can go back to the first page. When Hurricane applied for this $114,000, there's a form that you have to fill out, and it asks you have to be a member of Dixie MPO, and the project that you want to do needs to be on the Dixie MPO transportation plan. And so we have all this work that would have to be done, but it's an access to money for us to do some road work in town if we get it on their plan. And I asked, as I told you guys 2 months back in October, when they came and asked us if we wanted to join Dixie MPO, the next time will be 2033 before they would come back and ask us again. And I asked if the reason they were approaching us about and wanting us to be within their boundaries is because they want to pay Sheep Bridge Road. And if that's really what this was about, then they said yes. And so we would have some say so. So if we join, we get a seat at the executive council. We get a vote on different things that is going on in the county. So they're going to be paving Sheep Bridge Road with or without us, but we at least get some say so. And I know, I was just told the other day that right now they've got the money and the plan to pave Sheep Bridge Road from Highway 9 to the bridge. And after the bridge is they'll have to apply for more money. But that's the plan for now. And I don't know when this is going to happen, because I know someone's gonna ask me and I do not know. So I'll tell you now. But that is the first thing with Sheep Bridge Road that they'll be working on. So Heath had an opinion about whether or not we should join Dixie MPO, and is there more beyond what I've said?
No, really, a seat at the table, the advisory committee, you will have to vote on how the MPO expends the money that they have allocated to them by the legislature and the funding source. Then it gives us access to apply for and get those and put a nominal fee.
The nominal fee is $1,833 for us to join.
Yeah, and that's an annual fee though.
That's an annual fee, yes.
And frankly, I don't know, when they have the, money in reserves that why they charge municipalities.
A fee to join.
But I guess there's a reason for it but to me, I think the very first small grant we get from them, will offset that 5 times over. So I think, and we get a say, because if we don't plan or help plan for our area, they will plan for us. So I like having a voice.
And I will say at the meeting today, one of the things they did was this COG is where they asked for the $114,000 that Hurricane was asking for. But one of the things that they approved today were 3, they're spending $500,000 to connect 3 different trails that are somewhere in Washington County, and they're doing some connectors between the trails to make it one big long trail. That got approved today. And then there was some widening of a couple of roads in St. George that they're working on, and just there's money available. And if we're not part of the Dixie MPO, we don't have access. So what I asked if they needed a resolution from us to join, they said no. All they need is some minutes that show that we voted and what the vote was. And so we can vote on this without a resolution. We just want to know what do we think, and then they will have a resolution at their meeting next month. And all the rest of the mayors in the county will vote whether or not to let us join. And that's where we are. So if there's any more discussion of this, we can talk about it. If anyone wants to make a motion, then make a motion.
I assume that we can partner with the state. For example, if we wanna get the roundabout done on Sheep Bridge Road earlier than what the state has, and maybe we can utilize this to be able to get some funding for that goal.
Yes, there were several people from UDOT in the room, and the guy who was in charge, I cannot think of his name, he was actually not, he was there on behalf of Myron wasn't there, but they mentioned something about $1 billion that, from the federal government. And I was like, wow, to work on lots of projects in the county. So we need to be in there.
Before, when we talked about it, I reached out to people in the county and then some other people that I know in town, somebody talked to you about this, Mayor Tuckerville and a few others. They said it was a good thing to be part of, even if you don't take the funds from them, if you apply for something from the state likes to see that you're part of something like that, so. I'm not against it, I was just wondering what if there was an urgency based on time.
And there
Something like there is.
Yeah, and that's why I put this on here. Our next council meeting in January will be after the deadline for when they need to know, so we need to know now.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we join Dixie Transportation.
It's the,
Executive Council.
okay, it's actually the Dixie MPO, I put the wrong name on the.
Dixie MPO.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Actually, you know what, let's do a roll call vote because we're gonna be spending money of $1,833, so,
Should I amend my,
yes.
pay the $1,833 membership
Yes,
annually?
Agreed with the amendment.
okay. Paul,
Aye.
Jean, yes, Leroy,
Aye.
and Jean,
Aye.
okay. All right, so now we can get on to Michelle's request. So next is item 3, so we're going back to item 3, which is approval of an ordinance amending Virgin Town's official zoning map by rezoning parcel number V-2-1-21-2342 that is currently rural residential to commercial.
Mayor, consistent with my stand for the last 2 years, I move that we table this until next month.
And explain why to the rest of the room.
It's the same reason I've given for the previous motion, is the table for the new council to consider.
I'm going to second that motion. I feel that this zone change is something that the new town council should be voting on. That's just my thought. That with an outgoing town council voting on something like a zone change, I feel is not, I know it's technically legal. I have no objection to that, but I feel that it's not proper. So that's why I second the motion. So we'll vote on whether to table this to next month. So Paul
Aye.
and Jean, yes. Leroy,
No.
Jean.
No.
Okay. All right, so the motion failed, so that means that we now will vote on whether or not to. Yes, you were about to say something.
Yes, I'm gonna make a motion that we accept public comment on this ordinance.
How many people are online? None. All right. I was planning to allow Deb to make a comment that she did not get to make at the planning commission meeting. I was planning to allow her to make a comment, but with the small number of people here, I will second your motion. But I'm still going to allow Deb to make a comment. So voting on Paul's motion to allow public comment tonight. Jean,
No.
Leroy,
No.
Jean, yes. Paul,
Yes.
okay. All right. He, I still wanted to allow Deb to make a comment because she was not able to make her, she was at planning commission and was not able to make her, she could not get up to the podium to make her comment before they closed it to public comment. And so she came tonight and I was planning to allow Deb to make her comment. Based-
The panel, council?
No. She wanted to, if we're going to vote on this tonight, she wants to make the comment. So I want to make sure that even though Jean, Paul's motion was voted down, I still have the ability as the mayor to allow
You can,
Deb to make her, okay, all right, thank you. So Deb, I was going to let you come up and make your comment that you couldn't make the other day.
Deborah Macefield, Virgin. My comment was to say that I have known Michelle Cairns since she was a young teenager, 15, 14. And she's always been a very responsible, hardworking, young person. And I feel that these are the sorts of people we need to encourage to come to Virgin and put their lives in here and, you know, make some money and stuff, however it is, and I think we should allow her to be able to do that. Thank you, that was all I wanted to say.
Thank you,
Julie.
Jen. You're welcome. Okay, so moving on, let's discuss the subject. So Jean, do you have any comments that you would like to make about that?
I don't think this is hamstringing a new council. That's why I voted against that. I think that this has been in the general plan for a very long time to put commercial along SR9. I think this falls in line with the uses that we're looking for along SR9. I feel like it was beleaguered extensively in the commission meeting. Comments were made, public clamor was made. Good comments were made, people asking questions. I feel like it was well heard in their recommendation to us, so.
Leroy, do you have any comments you wanted to make about this zoning?
I don't have much more to say than other what Gene said, you know, it was aired properly in P and Z. And people were able to make comments, but I'm sorry that the young lady wasn't able to get up to the stand. And I'm glad that you let her do it today. I don't think we should postpone this. If it changes the zone, but then she still has to come in and get approval for whatever she wants to do by the end of the council.
So, Paul, what do you have? What are your comments that you would like to make about this subject?
As for the project, I like the project in concept. I think it's a good concept project. I think it's good in many parts of the town. I'm not convinced it is perfect for this location. Especially with no roundabout and the traffic issues that are gonna be created. With the paving of Sheepridge Road, with all the traffic down, the impacts on Desert Gardens will be tremendous from the standpoint. And then when I look at zone changes, I also look at not just the project, because this project can be proposed and it can never get off the board, and the minute we change the zoning, you gotta be comfortable with all the uses on that piece of property, because the developer could change their mind, he could sell it, there's different economic factors that could come in to stop the project and then later on it becomes something else. And I don't think what we have in our current code is compatible with that surrounding area. So based on that and with the roundabout not there in the traffic, I'm going to vote no on that.
So,
And it would be consistent because I voted no on eligibility.
yes, I remember that. So my thought about the zone change is when you review the comments, I had Crystal print out for us all of the comments that were made at the public hearing. And many of the comments are about the project and not the zone change. Those are two completely separate issues. And so most of the complaints that have to do with the project are more properly stated after Michelle gets a zone change and comes back and proceeds with the conditional use permit process to get her project approved. That's where many of these statements would come in. And there's just a few comments that were about the zone change itself. One was about spot zoning and was claiming this was spot zoning. But if we have the eligibility issue already voted on, number one, I'd say that, in my opinion, that mitigates against spot zoning. But the other is, yes, there's residential on one side and there's rural residential on the other side of this piece of property, but the rural residential on the east side of that property is going to become commercial. There's just, no one's going to build a house there. It would be a silly place for a house, especially when you're about to have a roundabout and a gas station here. No one is going to build a house there. It's going to become commercial. And so I don't see this as spot zoning when you've got commercial across, you've got eventually we'll have commercial next to it, and then you've got commercial across the street there, commercial across the street on the other side. It's like the rural residential piece that's going to be left as rural residential is the piece that's going to be sticking out like a sore thumb when everything else out there is commercial. So that's just my issue about the spot zoning question. I feel that in my conversations with Michelle about her project, I feel I have gotten I go with my gut feeling that she's honest and straightforward and will do what she says she's going to do. And if she can't, then I believe we can work something out with a different project if this one doesn't work out. I proposed a development agreement. Keep that in mind, Keith. I had proposed a development agreement when I talked with Michelle yesterday, and I still would like to pursue discussions of that even after we decide on this rezone question. Whether or not you're open to such conversations, we can talk about that later. So I will take a motion on this issue. Item number 3.
I'll make a motion to amend approval of ordinance 2023, whatever it's gonna be, amending Virgin Town's official zoning map by rezoning B-2-1-21-2342 to commercial zone.
I'll second that.
I will make a motion to amend the motion, I'd like to change the effective date. Instead of becoming effective immediately, to become effective January 31st, 2024.
Why?
Because there has been some testimony that there may be a referendum, and this will provide a time period to see if the referendum it has any legs, and it also will have an opportunity for the new council, if they so desire, to rescind this ordinance.
Wouldn't they, this is a question for Heath, wouldn't they still be able to rescind the ordinance even if we did not put the date, the effective date of January 31st, 2024?
Why would you put an effective date?
He just explained.
Right now, it's immediately on passage, I'm making it effective, January 31st, 2024.
And he, what,
With the idea that,
well, there's been some chatter about a referendum.
yeah,
And so he was thinking that, by giving a date, an effective date of 2024, we would give time for those who were thinking about doing the referendum. We'll find out yes or no. And then also that was giving the next town council a chance to rescind. And what I was asking is, even if we have if the effective date stays right now as to today, it still could be rescinded by a later, another town council, could it not?
It can be, and it could be so, even if it has an effective or implementation date sometime, 45 days down the road or so. It can and should be timely to challenge it through the referendum process. They need to file their petition. Anyways, regardless of whether it's now or whether we will take this record immediately or January 31st.
Right, that suspends the ordinance while the referendum process. And then, we could still vote to rescind the, zone later. I just want to make sure that putting off the date, to January 31st, the same things could be done, even if we leave the date as of today's date. While I seconded some of your motions, I'm not gonna second that one.
Because of the second.
Okay. All right, so the motion remains as Jean proposed. You made the motion, right? To approve the zone change from rural residential to commercial. So I need a second on that motion.
I seconded James' motion.
You did? Okay, sorry. All right, so we will vote then if there's no further discussion of any sort other
Did the
than.
amendment go?
Yes,
Down for the last, lack of a second.
all right, so we will vote. Jean,
Aye.
Leroy,
I,
Jean, yes, Paul.
No,
So then the last thing on our agenda is to talk about, and it's just a discussion item, is to get an update, a status update by the committee that was revising the regulations on short-term rentals in chapter 60. So I don't expect there to be, I know somewhat what happened at the planning commission, so Jean, if you would just give us a status or report of what happened at the planning commission.
Sure. So the committee met multiple times, proposed a pretty broad version of the ordinance to be looked at by the commission. Commission went through it, felt like it needed to go back to the committee or to possibly a future committee based on whatever's decided in the new year, but that it needs to be put back for more work. That's the side.
Okay, and then, today, when you and I were talking, you had mentioned that you felt that we should revise the committee.
I do. I feel like you had your commission chair and a member of your current council on that committee, and with new people on it, probably better. That's interest of the town, but assign new people to the committee.
Okay. So I have a question, another question for you, Heath. So with planning commission being that little 4-person committee working on the short-term rental revision of this proposed ordinance, with them unable to come to an agreement, and now say send it back to this committee, does this I assume the town council has the right to, or the legal ability to vote and say, we're done with working with the council, we're just gonna bring it to a council vote. We're done with working with the 4-person committee, we can decide to
The
cancel
committee
it.
has no delegated land use, they're only making recommendations to the council, and if council or if committees, for whatever reason, unable in a timely manner to produce recommendations, then yeah, ultimately, I do think that if the council feels that it's important enough that the spending ordinance be brought to a decision,
It can do that.
they can do that.
Okay, so we can either revise the 4-person committee, or we can cancel it and bring it to a vote, whichever way we wanna go. Okay, I just wanted to be sure, have that on the record as to whatever we wanna do.
Keith, what's the definition of a time and manner?
Well, I'll tell you what the outside timing matter is. We have 6 months going in, the pending ordinance was first started through the approval process, meaning that it was first on the agenda. Made available to the public to review. And so you have a time, and I think when this committee was created, it was already 2 or 3 months into the process.
Yeah, we started September 13th, and the proposal for the committee was at the September town council meeting. I believe, we have to go back and look at the minutes, but I think it was the September town council meeting, and I asked for an update in October, and then November and December. October, oh, we have until, I think, March.
March 13th.
Mhm.
Roughly. So,
So we've got 3 more months. I hope it doesn't take that long. But, so timely would be,
and we need to recognize that we've had some applicants apply for building permits for homes or dwellings that are beyond the size limitation bedroom wise. And so those building permits being rejected based on this pending ordinance. Unless the property owner wants to comply with the ordinance come down, but we can, but that we need to recognize that, yes, we can take up to 6 months to make a decision, but we take too long, and if there's too much time and money at stake, the city could be exposing itself to possible threats of litigation. We'll throw that out there.
okay,
Let's not say that, let's not. Timely is a very amorphous word, neighborhood, but timely needs to be sooner rather than later.
I was just concerned with litigation, how long we need to wait. Or what time we had.
We take all 6 months, or all of the
I do not plan for this to take all 6 months. I have no plans that to happen.
Trying to answer yours.
Okay. Okay, so that was the last thing on the agenda. I don't suppose we need, there's no reason for a closed meeting that I've heard, so I will take a motion to adjourn.
So made.
I'll second the last one.
Hey, you guys said that when we motioned to close, you guys were gonna say no.
I'll go for dinner.
Okay. All right. So, we'll take a roll call vote, so, Gene,
Bye.
Leroy.
I said I was gonna say no. You can say no.
Gene, yes, Paul,
Aye.
okay. Meeting adjourned. This is the shortest town council meeting we've ever had.